One of the clinicals for class is a brief analytic reading response. In this assignment, you will select an academic journal article about ELs or bilingual students and technology. You're going to read that article and write a brief analytic reading response, or BAR, which is a paper that's no longer than 3 pages. The academic articles about ELs and technology can be found in Moodle here under course resources. If you go to one of these 2 links, this link will take you to a Google Drive folder full of articles about ELs and technology, and this will take you to a Moodle folder filled with PDFs of the same articles about ELs and technology. So your BAR is going to include the following components. The first one is a central quotation. So that's 1 or 2 sentences from the journal article you assigned that you think best captures the author's overall point. Make sure you quote that article in the paper and use APA format and include a page reference when you quote it. I'd like you to raise a question that you think isn't fully answered by the article. Make sure the question's appropriate, so make sure it focuses on themes we've addressed in class. So since we're talking about ELs and technology, don't talk about, like, I wonder how this would work with grading, if that's really not what the article's about and not something we've discussed in class to a whole extent. And make sure your question is one of interpretation or inquiry, not a fact. So it really shouldn't be one of the lower Bloom's level questions. So did the author talk about XYZ? That's a question of fact rather than interpretation. Finally, you should have a text connection. So I'd like you to connect this article, so this text, to an argument you found in another reading assignment that we've done in the course, or if you have a reading or a text outside of the course, so something you've used in another class or something you've used in your work in schools, feel free to use that. So take a look at the class readings, but also you can look outside into your into other aspects of your life and other texts you've read. So I'd like you to connect the argument of the academic article you've read for this assignment to another text and present a quote from that text and explain how the academic article text compares, contrasts, confirms, clarifies, or elaborates the other text's argument or point. Make sure your response is thoughtful and substantive. Make sure that you have an argument or a narrative line, so you're not just recounting what happened in both texts, you're actually taking a stand about something and making a claim. And then make sure when you're writing that this could elicit discussion from others, like classmates. So if I were to read this to the group, would it start a pretty fruitful discussion? So here is the rubric for this assignment. So here is a continuum of possible points from 0 to 6. You can see for your central quotation, make sure there's a quote that's a sentence or 2 from the academic article that best captures the author's overall point. Make sure you raise a clear and explicit question that's not fully answered by the text, and that it is a question of interpretation or inquiry. For the text connection, connect the argument of the academic article to the argument you found in the other text. And then here's some guidelines for that. Next is style and mechanics. Make sure it's clearly written, persuasive. Make sure there are no mechanical errors, and write in the active voice with simple verb tenses. Finally, APA format. Make sure the quotes or sentences are formatted according to APA. Make sure your paper is no more than 3 pages and no less than 1. And make sure you include a reference section on the back or on a second page, an additional page rather. And then finally, we have answers to frequently asked questions. Yes, you need to use APA format when you're citing your outside sources. And you may use this link to the Purdue OWL APA Style Guide to help you cite your references. You do not need a cover page. Instead, use the sample heading that's posted on Moodle as a guide. And you do not have to choose an article from Moodle. If you have your own academic article, you may use that as long as it focuses on English learners and technology. However, if you have your own academic article, you might want to use that as the thing you compare to. So you could pick an article from Moodle and compare it to your own academic article about ELs and technology. That would be a really good comparison. Or you can use your academic article as the main article. So hopefully that answered all your questions. If not, please let me know, and happy writing.